Okay, so this is our mock interview one. So how we're going to do these is there is two different people that I'm interviewing, and I'm going to show you an example of a weaker version of their interview and a stronger version of their interview. You can see some summary of the interview on the slides, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just open up the interview and do a voiceover, and we're going to kind of walk through it. I'm going to speed through some things, turn down the volume in some things so that I can talk over it. But if you want to watch the raw footage of the interview, it's linked here in the slides. So we are going to start.
Okay, hi Bhuvni. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good, good. So, did you get the command prompt or the code prompt that I sent?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and share your screen and get started?
And as you can see, I'm doing, I've sped up the video a little bit.
Maybe some. This is what it is.
So what you can see right now, what Bhuvni is doing is she is starting the problem, but she's not really talking to the interviewer. She's just starting to type and kind of read silently. She's like mumbling a little bit, but you can't really understand what she's saying. So I really have no idea as the interviewer if she knows what she's doing or if she's on the right track. This is her full
So, you're
volume.
going to write it as a function?
Yeah.
Okay.
The interviewer is like trying to talk to her a little bit and kind of like ask questions to encourage her to speak, but she's still not. She's writing out a function prototype, but she's used the word function, which is not a good name as a function. So right away the interviewer is kind of worried. She also
I see that you have like a template and an array. Can you type that array?
Yes. Oh,
I like declare the type of the array.
So the interviewer just asked her question, and she did not verbally respond to it. She just started typing, which is really bad. You definitely want to be answering the question verbally and typing at the same time. And also, you know, has some kind of odd syntax. I said that it's okay to have like approximate syntax that's like.
So, what are you doing here? You're going to sort it?
yes.
Okay. You get a lot sorting it.
So I'm giving her a question like you're sorting it to kind of indicate like what are you doing, where are you going with
So,
this.
that array that you're using, is that like a C array or is it like some abstraction array that you have? Or
It's just an array.
okay.
So that was really bad answer. To just say, oh, it's just an array. Like,
So, you're
didn't
going
it?
to start doing selection sort on the array.
The interviewer, is trying to get her to talk multiple times by kind of reading what she's typing. The interviewer is making more noise than her, so the video is showing up of the interviewer.
So, you're doing selection sort on an array that's templated?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a reason you're using a template?
Because we don't know what type of array it is.
Oh, okay. You actually can assume that it's an integer. It's an array of integers. You don't need to make it general.
So because she didn't clarify the question at all, she was actually going to make this much harder than it needed to be by making it general and templated, which could cause all sorts of
I'm
weird.
just curious if it was a templated array with any type. How are you planning to do the sum of like a string?
Well, I guess you could concatenate it. Maybe.
So you're looking for when two words concatenated equals k? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So the interviewer's kind of using the choice of templates to see if she can get any more
I'm wondering why you chose
information.
selection sort.
Um, it's like a pretty good sort, I think.
Do you know what its big O is?
Um, I think it's like n or n squared.
Okay. I mean, with what you read just now, what's that nested double for loop?
Oh yes, I think it's n squared because you
Okay.
put in twice.
Okay.
So the interview has already asked lots and lots of questions, and Buvni is just like really giving minimal answers and very like I think yeah it's something like they're very casual, very like indecisive questions. Now you don't need to know exactly what the answer is, and it's okay to be like, oh, I'm not really sure, or I think. It's not wrong to say those words, but it's almost like they're brushing it off as like it's something like this, but it doesn't matter when it matters a lot. But Buvni is moving the solution really quickly into kind of disaster zone. She started with templating it when it wasn't asked, and it wasn't even until the interview like really pushed that it moved it away. But now Buvni is into sorting, and hasn't talked about why or like where they're going with it.
Oh.
She's making all sorts of changes to
Um,
her code without saying at all what she's doing. So she's doing so many things as she
The first one
types.
is index 1.
oh no, it is not.
And again, you see how the interviewer is giving lots of tips, like asking a lot of questions when it's kind of a silly mistake, which is typical,
Um, well,
And Buvni listened.
one,
She changed
so
that index 1 to a 0, but she didn't respond
um,
at all.
So I'm curious, you've been writing the sorting algorithm for a while. What's your plan with it after it sorts?
um, so when you sort it, then you can figure out like the biggest and the smallest numbers, and then maybe you could like not look at part of the array when you're trying to figure out the calculation.
Okay. So yeah, you said you can look at the biggest and the smallest, but can't you get the biggest and the smallest just from doing a min or a max?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, maybe I
Okay, so you're doing sorting, right? Are you sure that there's no better sorting algorithm? Or is n squared the best you can do? Selection sort.
I can't think of any other ones, so I think I'm just gonna go with this for now.
Okay.
So here you can see that I'm like pretty aggressively trying to get her to move to a different solution, and she's really not listening. And I'm even just trying to get to a better sorting algorithm, or at least talk about sorting in a different way. And she's again just like trying to get this code written and trying to get a code on the page, and she's really going off course. And this is a very, very typical thing that can happen in an interview, with or without the interviewer prompting.
Mm.
So she's still trying to get this sorting algorithm written.
Okay, I need to switch this one.
She's writing selection sort, which she explained, but she hasn't even explained what selection sort does. She's just writing the algorithm.
So let's assume that you could finish this sorting algorithm.
Okay.
Are you almost done with it, or
Yes, I
you're almost done with it? Okay.
Really aggressively, the interviewer is trying to get her to stop writing a sorting algorithm. And she just keeps going.
What are you doing here?
So I want to swap the values.
Can you tell me a little bit about how selection sort works? What's like the general, as you're typing, just what's the general algorithm?
Yeah, so you would take the array and switch the values until the smallest one is in the front and the biggest one is at the end.
Okay.
think I'm done with that. Um,
Okay, so you sorted the array. What are you going to do now?
so I need to find pairs that equal exactly k. So then now I'll go and look for equals 0. Oh, it's less than the lane.
So you're going to like search the array now?
Yes.
What are you going to search for?
So I think I'll just search for sums that are less than k, and then if I hit a number that's greater than k, I won't look at those values at all.
You're going to do like every two
Oh.
pairs, or are you going to do another nested loop?
Um, mhm. I think I can try doing pairs, but I'm not sure how that would work. Or maybe I could figure out what the biggest number is first using the math.
So you're going to find the biggest number and then try to find a number that makes
So
the biggest number makes it sum to k?
I think I will. I want to find the biggest number that is less than k. So I will start.
So, because Bhuvni didn't explain what her approach to this problem is, I still have no idea that she knows how to solve the problem, even if she has a sorted array. Not to mention that, she spent about 10 minutes writing selection sort. Um, and now I'm trying to figure out, well, what is she going to do now? And she's also trying to figure that out because she didn't give herself enough time to solve the problem before she started writing code. So she hasn't had any time to think. So she's just now writing a bunch of loops and searching and finding, and I'm just trying to get more out of her.
So I see that you sorted the array, right? So
Mhm.
you could have just looked for the biggest number, writing a max function, and then searching through the array for that using the max algorithm, right? So why did you sort it? What did you try to do by sorting it?
And here I'm really telling her, like, what you have proposed here, it doesn't even make sense to me. So, like, why did you sort it? And as I'm doing that, I'm giving her hints on a better way to do it at the same time.
What are you getting out of the sorted array?
Maybe it's easier to find pairs at the. I think I'll just keep writing some more. Okay,
So she's so nervous that anytime she's asked a question that she doesn't know, she just says she's going to keep writing code, and the code does not take her anywhere. She's massively under discussing and describing what she's doing and just coding.
So you're just going to go down the list and check every two pairs to see if they're equal to k? Is that what that's doing there?
yeah.
Or you're going to nest it, so you're going to do the first one compared to all the other ones?
And the interviewer is interrupting her a lot, which is also very common.
Oh, the first and the last.
Yes. If this is greater. Okay, wait, no. If.
Oh God. She's just deleting stuff.
Okay, wait, right. File.
Oh no. So now she's just panic coding.
So we're kind of running to the end of our interview. Do you want to maybe put in some comments of how you would solve this without any code, so that we can have something before we end here?
So I think what I would do here is maybe go through the array and increment these two values if it's too small or too big until I get to this k value. So increment. Oh, okay.
Okay, I think that's good. I think I got a good sense of your approach. I think that.
So I just told her to stop writing code and to just write out comments, and she starts writing code again.
We'll kind of end our session. We'll have another interview, unless this is your second one, to kind of work on another problem. But I think that is all for right now. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll see you again some other time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye.
So that's how that went. So, she spent a lot of time sorting and then she didn't spend enough time solving the problem and she ran out of time. And this isn't a real amount of time. Usually interviews are longer than this, but we didn't think you'd want to watch that long of a video. And she kind of was left with nothing, right? Like she didn't show that she knew how to solve the problem because she didn't even tell the solution. If she would have talked about what the solution would be, written it out in codes, written out in code, written out some steps, at least if she didn't finish coding, she would have at least that down. But she's kind of left with nothing. Um, so it was a pretty weak interview for that reason. And if you go back here to the slides, I summarize some of those weaknesses. Definitely jumped into coding way too soon. Um, she started writing code, making assumptions, and she should have, asked a lot of questions before she started. So the template thing was a huge indication that she didn't clarify the problem. You really should never be writing sorting or even searching code in interviewers without explicitly asking the interview if they want you to write that. It would make much more sense to write a helper function. So if she did want to sort the array and wanted to go on that approach, she should just say she's calling sort, and just assume that there's already a sorting algorithm to call. She got deep into sorting. She never really got out. She was ignoring the interviewer the whole time. In terms of like moving towards their suggestions and even kind of ignoring by not answering the questions. She had a lot of improper syntax, like, she used some improper indexing by using like an L when like she could have reused I. She had like a function name called function. Yeah, and again, really massively spent no time clarifying the code, talking through what she was doing, etc. So that is an example of a weak interview.